Hello and welcome to another Mordian Mondays. This is episode 73 and today guys I've got loads of exciting news, loads of great things I want to talk about, but the first one is let's talk about the painting. That's what Mordian Mondays is all about. Let's talk about the Great Mordian Restoration Project. I think I may have finally got the scheme to the point where I am satisfied with it. Yes, I know I have painted 300 of these bozos. I know I've been doing this for 18 months, but I think I finally cracked that final detail. Final. Lots of fines. I think I finally cracked the last detail to bring the whole scheme together. And it is transfers and shoulder pad details. Okay. You see, for a long time, for a lot of the Great Mordian Restoration Project, what I've been trying to do is brighten the scheme. You see, at the beginning of the project, I went with this whole idea of I want the plastic Cadians and the metal Mordians to match, and the only way I can really do that is by going with a slightly unusual direction with the Cadian bodies. Rather than having all the cloth one colour and the body armour another colour, instead I'm going to divide it from top half and bottom half of the model. So the bottom half of the model and the trousers will be blue, and the top half of the model will be mostly green with a bit of blue here and there. And that was fine, but the side effect, the upside is that the Mordians and the Cadians, when side by side, look fantastic. They look like they belong in the same army, just almost like different specialists within the army. One is the dress uniform guys and one are the body armor guys, but they look like they belong in the same regiment, which is great. The problem with it is that it makes the Cadian models look very dark, because the Mordians at least have blue epaulets which help brighten the model, but the Cadians didn't have that. And so I've sort of been racking my brains on how to brighten up the models, and so that's why I originally started doing like edge highlights and dry brushing on the Mordians, because I wanted the Mordians didn't need it; they looked bright enough, but the Cadians needed to be. They looked almost like black or very dark navy on camera, which was a problem. So I've done all this edge highlighting, which is great. Turns out it's fantastic because it's really improved my painting skills, and my Mordians are by far my best looking army. But it added on a lot of time. Now, one thing I would say is I've finally cracked the detail, even with the edge highlighting, I should say, even with the edge highlighting, even with the dry brushing of the lighter greens and lighter blues, the models still looked a bit dark. They were just acceptable. And again, that's why I added things like hazard stripes in, because they bring a certain brightness to the model. That's why I do a lot of gold on the army. That's why the guns are nearly all silver, partly because it's meant to look like they're stamped metal and they are cheap and mass produced. You know, they're not beautiful heirlooms like destroying weapons. These are very functional weapons. And the other side is that it brightens the model, because if I had a black lasgun with just silver trim, then that's going to make the model even darker. So that's sort of the history and the context around it. And finally, I've been wanting to do something with the shoulder pads, with the Cadians, for a while. I've been racking my brains on what to do with it, because there's a couple of practical considerations that I need to take into account. My first thought was squad markings, platoon markings, regimental markings, stuff like that. That was my first thought. The problem with that is, firstly, the metal Mordians have no place to put those individual squad markings, so that doesn't really work. They have not got a great place for any sort of regimental transfers or anything like that either. But that's fine. They've got the epaulets, and the epaulets can be spruced up a bit with a bit of gold or whatever, and that's fine. That's how I'll add the extra detail to them. Or I can use white on them, which will look really nice. The other problem I had was that I use pure infantry, and that means that when I'm at a tournament, for example, I need to be fast, because I'm already I've already got a big job ahead of me, moving 200 infantry every game. Okay, so I need to be fast. When I'm taking casualties up, I need to be taking them up quickly. When I'm moving men around the board, I need to move them quickly. When I'm placing them on the board, I need to be quick. I can't be doing squad markings, because then I will forever be going, oh, he doesn't belong with squad 1 of Alpha Platoon. He belongs to squad 2 of C Platoon. And then I'm spending so much time trying to make sure the right men are in the right squads. And it will just become a logistical nightmare. I need to be able to go, right, here is a bucket of riflemen. I need 6, 1 heavy weapon team, special weapon, sergeant. And I do that, and I literally just need to do that 18 times. That's how I need to throw my army out. That's how I used to be able to deploy 250 guardsmen in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You know, people used to think that I was going to be the problem in terms of like slow playing and timings in tournament games, and they would think, oh, it's going to take you half an hour to deploy your army. I would often deploy my pure infantry guard quicker than they would deploy their elite infantry army, because their elite army tended to have a lot of auras and stuff that needed to be overlapping, and my guard could literally be slapped down really quickly. So that's why I couldn't have squad markings. Okay, because I can't be messing around with, oh, he's got a 1 on his shoulder pad, he's got a 3 on his shoulder. I can't be messing around with that. Just can't be doing it. So that is why up until this point I hadn't come up with any way of marking those shoulder pads. I couldn't figure out how to do it. Another one was I was having a real difficulty of getting hold of Imperial Guard transfers. Okay, I've tried looking for custom transfers. I've tried looking on eBay, and quite frankly, there's just I think most people just throw the transfers in the bin. I don't think most people use them. I think, quite frankly, most people don't use their transfers, so they just throw them in the bin, and no one bothers selling them because the guard ones are a bit generic. So I found like 1 or 2 here and there, but by and large I didn't find any transfers. So I thought, well, what the hell am I going to do? Then I came across, and also they don't do any Mordian transfers. They didn't do any appropriate transfers. It's all Cadian Gate shoulder pads and all that kind of stuff. I don't want that. I'm not Cadian. I'm the Mordian 50th goddamn rifles, or God Emperor damn rifles. So what did I come up with? Well, you can see on the screen, can't you? I just stumbled across some Sisters of Battle transfers, and the moment I saw them, I knew that they would be perfect for the new Mordian 50th rifles. Okay, I knew they'd be perfect because if you look at that transfer on this guy's shoulder pad, you'll come back around again in a second. Don't worry, I've included loads of them. If you look at that transfer, it has a cross on it, and it's like a Templar cross. It's a bit like a Black Templar cross, and that is perfect. And it's also got a skull on it. That is perfect for this image that my Mordians are on that penitent crusade. They are seeking repentance. They've got the Templar cross. Templars well known for their crusading. They've got the skull on their skull, well known for sort of death, well known for you mark for death if you've got the sort of the skull patch on you. It's well sort of established, sort of, or well easily linked idea. So great, and it's in white, which is perfect because I'm trying to brighten this model up. Don't want a dark black transfer or anything like that. I want a white transfer. I'm trying to make these models look brighter. So I've got the Templar cross for the crusade icon. I've got the skull for the sort of martyrdom, for the earning repentance icon, and it just works. That's what my guys are doing. And then also my Mordians, I'm starting in the fluff to think of linking them quite closely to my Black Templars, and the reason for this is that, like, well, Mordians are kind of like Napoleonic Prussians in space, and Black Templars are obviously like, the Knights Templar, who were a Germanic, from what I understand, a Germanic order, and so they're both Germanic, and so I figured I sort of want to take that real world ties and bring it into my own headcanon and say that the Mordians are in their penitent crusade, have been helping or have been part of a crusade force alongside the Black Templars. So, and then that will help. That will allow me to have fluff justifications for either running pure Mordians or maybe having some Black Templars involved in there as well. It gives me loads of options when it comes to doing content and battle reports for the channel. So that's great. So it links that together. And then on the other side, I thought I need something else with the shoulder pad, and I tried for ages to find another transfer to go with the shoulder pad, and I couldn't find one that I liked. Found loads of skulls. I've already got skulls on the left shoulder pad. I don't want them on the right shoulder pad, so didn't go for skulls. Could have gone for some sort of eagle, like an Aquila, or a skull with wings. But you know, these models have already got plenty of skulls with wings on the rifles, on the bloody hats, on the shoulder, on the chest. Like, they've already got loads of that. So I decided that I needed to put the regiment icon, regiment number on there, but you can't find, for love nor money, transfers that are 50. You can't find in a lot. You will find numbers 1 to 10, but you're only going to get 1 5 and 1 0 in each transfer, or maybe you'll be lucky you'll get 2 or 3. It's not enough. I'm not paying £5 for a transfer sheet to only get 3, to get enough to do 3 models. I'd literally be spending 20 quid. 15 to 20 quid to do the transfers for each squad. I can't do that. Like, it's just not feasible. So I resigned myself to the fact that I was going to have to draw it on, essentially paint it on. Also, I was going to do it in High Gothic until I realised that the High Gothic Roman numeral for 50 is L, and it just looked a bit shit having a random L on the shoulder pad. Like, I almost thought putting MLR for Mordian M 50th L rifles, but it just looked stupid. So I ended up just putting a 50 on. And the way I did it actually is I drew it on with a gel pen. I drew it on with a gel pen, but then when I tried to hard coat it, it started wiping off. So that's because I don't want it to rub off. So I drew it on with gel pen, and then I went over it in white paint. And you might think, well, why don't you just do it with the paintbrush the first time? When you draw it on with the pen, you get a much cleaner 50. And then when you do it with a paintbrush, it looks like you have used a paintbrush to draw it. It's a slight distinction, I know, but it maybe won't matter on 400, 300 Cadians that I'm going to end up doing. But I could just sort of see it. So what I ended up doing is I drew it on with the pen and then went over it with the paint, which always basically sealed it. Then when I put the hard coat over it, it was solid. It was nice. The white gel pen was a really nice, deep white, non-translucent white. So I didn't have to do. When I've used white Warhammer paint in the past, I've had to do like 50 layers of white just to get even a slight white color. So the gel pen acted as the base, layer of white over the top. Then I hard coated it, and it just looked much better. Now I'm still not 100% satisfied because one looks done by hand and one is a nice, clean, crisp transfer, but at the end of the day, it's good enough. And when I'm going to be running 300 of them, it'll be fine. So, plan is, I've already bought a shed load more of the Sisters Battle transfers. You can find those for next to nothing. I know several Sister players who just give them away because they don't use them. So, I've got myself a boatload of Sisters transfers, and I'm going to be putting these in all my Cadians. And the plan is to make the Mordians match with them. I'm going to do the sort of epaulette ring on the metal Mordians. I'm going to do that in either white or gold. I haven't decided yet. It's probably going to be white, because then it'll be white and blue, which will look, you know, both models will have that white element to the shoulder pad. So that's where we're at. And yeah, that actually went on a lot longer than I expected, but it's the main part of the video. So it's the reason I like doing this. It seems like I've gone on and on about this whole process and this thinking with this, you know, just Morning Glory, just slap some transfers on. No, the reason I wanted to take the time and sit down and actually go through this in quite a lot of detail is I wanted to explain what the problem was. I wanted to explain the solutions my initial solutions. And then I wanted to detail what actually worked, because I can just sit here and ramble and chat, and I like to do that with all my videos, but especially Morning Mondays. But I also like to use these as almost like I'm I'm like I'm treading the path through the snow first, and then people can follow me afterwards, and hopefully they will learn something from this, and it will help them. Hopefully, it'll help them. I mean, you know, I have learned the hard way that you want to hard coat your transfers. They will rub off very easily. That's why I use hard coat on all my transfers now, for example. And going through, like I would, a bit of warning with the sisters transfers, they don't quite sit flat, so you have to spend time like doing a bit of hard coat, sticking a bit down, putting another layer over, and just doing that. And then when you're going round where the hard coat is shiny on the bit of green on the rest of the shoulder pad, you don't want to hard coat the whole shoulder pad. You just want to hard coat where the transfer is, but inevitably there'll be a bit of spillage. You want to then go around that with paint, so that otherwise the transfer looks really, really shiny. All that kind of stuff. Hopefully someone will stumble across this video who's gone through the exact same process as me and be like, thank God that someone found a solution. Now, in terms of pen that I used, okay, for the, if you like, the number 50, the way that's done, I obviously don't know if this is the same for around the world, but in the UK, I went and bought some paint pens from Hobbycraft, and the ones I bought were some Uniball things, and they said they were fine tip. They said they were like 0.8mm tip. Bollocks. Don't buy them. Sorry if anyone from Unibond or Uniball is watching this. Total waste of time. Don't buy proper paint pens. The tip is really fat. It's a proper thick. Even when it says it's 0.8mm, it's a proper thick felt tip, and it won't help. Okay, the one I bought, literally, and I had a feeling, I just had a sixth sense, maybe the commissar needs to come and investigate, but I had a feeling that those expensive like pens, were going to be a letdown. I'll use them for the stuff around the house and everything, so it's not the end of the world. But what I ended up buying was literally the most basic bitch white gel pen, and the one I got is Paper Pottery. It's gel pen, pastel, white, 0.8mm, and I think it cost £1. Okay, so like the £5 paint pen, bollocks. The £1 generic gel pen, perfect. And then I went over it with white scar. So that's how I did it. So if anyone's interested, those are my lessons learned. Now, the reason I have to, another thing I would say is, the reason I have to, you might think, well, why did you agonize so much over over what could be considered a trivial detail? Well, it's a great point. I'm sure some sort of psychiatrist would definitely like to unpick my brain at some point. Maybe I'm just arrogant. I've got an ego the size of a planet, probably. I don't know. But hopefully not. But I do that with everything. Like, it took me 6 months to pick out the PC parts that I wanted, because I had to research and make sure every single one of them was perfect. But it's not just that. Jokes aside, when you're doing it on 300 models, you have to get it right. And you can be a bit sloppy when you finally found what you think works, but you have to get that solution right, because it's a lot of work to put in to something that's going to end up being shit. Okay, and you just don't want to waste your time. Like, I really like the way the Mordian scheme came out in the end, and I really enjoy painting it. But I do feel there's a slight missed opportunity. No, not really, actually. No, I just really like it. I mean, the only thing I would say is I did miss an opportunity. My favourite drink is Iron Brew. I should really paint all the armour orange, because then it'll be orange and blue, like the Iron Brew tin can colour. So that would have been cool. That's my only regret in the Mordian restoration project. The Iron Brew Mordian Iron Guard would have been perfect, but who knows? Maybe I'll have to repaint all 500 dudes again, or 300 that I'm up to now. Repaint all 300 and do the green bits that you see now orange. How much? Oh God. I didn't know. Jokes aside, the reason I chose not to do that is because my God, orange is a difficult colour to paint. Ugh, I thought yellow was hard. Orange is really difficult. Don't know how people do orange. Anyway, so that's why I agonise, and I like to get things right. I like to measure twice, cut once kind of thing. I like to try and be precise. So I just like things to be done properly, I guess is what it is. So yeah, that's why I spent a week doing 10 decals and 10 50, 10 hand drawn shoulder pads, because I had to do all the research and find the solution that I thought worked best. Anyway, maybe I'm mad. Maybe we're all mad, but maybe I'm definitely mad. Anyway, that's it. The other exciting thing I was going to announce, which I was going to spend a lot more time on, but I guess it didn't need to take that long, is I put it on Facebook and I put it on the old Instagram, but I'm going to obviously want to say it on YouTube as well. The new Mordian Glory Battle Bunker, new recording studio, battle report studio, is now officially going ahead. I received clearance, aka permission, from High Command, aka the Missus. To be honest, she was always very supportive of it. But we always said we'd do all the rest of the decorating on the house first, and so we've done all that now. Now I can treat myself, and we're going to be doing turning one of the spare rooms into a Warhammer studio, and it's going to be great. We're going to have display cases. We're going to have an area where the armies can be put out, so they can be recorded in a separate place before being put onto the battlefield. So we don't have to mess around with terrain and moving terrain out of the way, moving it back. It'll be good for having codexes laid out, to have rules easy to hand. It's going to be really themed. So it's going to be themed in the style of an Imperial bunker, and the battle report table is going to be. It's going to be like the command display kind of thing. It'll just be a table, but it'll look cool in the middle of this battle bunker. I'm going to have some artwork, which I'm trying to sort out. It's going to be like Imperial propaganda posters. I have 3 propaganda posters on one of the walls. Have a couple of prop las guns mounted on the walls, on display, ready to be used by guards, whatever. Have a las pistol in the corner. For storage containers, I'm thinking army ammo tins, maybe, if they'll work, maybe not. Or maybe just having a couple of army ammo tins with just to store some crap in the corner. It's going to be, and there's going to be above the light switch, we're going to have a stencil bless the machine spirit before turning the light on kind of thing. It's going to be bits of stencils. It's obviously going to be a big Imperial Eagle. We're trying to have a picture of the Emperor up somewhere as well. It's going to be a YouTube recording studio. So we're going to have display cases, good lighting and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be that with a zest, a theme, a pinch, a seasoning of being an Imperial Guard bunker. First and foremost, it's going to be practical, but then we want to have that theming in there. But it's going to be neat and tidy and awesome. It's going to be a dedicated hobby Warhammering space that will be awesome for doing recordings on. And that recording's in, and that's the plan. So it's very exciting. I am currently decorating it, and it's looking really cool. But it is probably going to be the plan is to have it done in time for the UK lockdown to ease. Now the plan with the UK COVID lockdown is that it should be middle of May. So May, June kind of time is when I am planning to have it finished, which should give me approximately 2 months to get this all done, which should be fine because I've done the paint. I've pretty much done all the painting of the room already. So, no, that's not true. I've done about half the painting of the room. So the plan is that I'm going to get it all done and buy lots of stuff and order it. And it'll be cool. And I think, the plan is to have that, and it's almost going to be like a celebration of the channel reaching the 10,000 sub milestone. Because when you reach that 10,000 subs, I feel like you've got to start taking yourself a bit more seriously. And the plan is, as you guys have seen over the last year or so, or 2 years or so, the channel's grown from being very much an amateur hobbyist kind of thing. I still want to retain that personal touch, absolutely. But I feel like if I'm going to keep doing this, which I want to, I need to be a bit more professional about it. No more battle reports in the living room. No more, I haven't got the right size battle mat, so I'll mark out the edge with DVDs. Nothing like that. We're going to have no more hodgepodge of terrain or anything like that. Okay, no. We've had our fun with scraping by, and now it is time to get serious, because that is that is what we're all here for. You know, we're here to have fun, but you guys want to see high quality, high production content. That's what. It's so, you know, you see some channels now which have got like 300 subs and they've got better production quality than a Hollywood studio. You know, it's insane what some people are putting out, and I almost feel like, you know, the age of the amateur YouTubers is kind of gone, and we do all have to sort of step up and be a bit more professional about it. And of course, I'm Mordian, so I want to be professional. I'm always going to keep the wackiness and the silliness and the personal touch and the tactics videos will always be like this. But when I'm talking about battle reports, loads of people can just film battle reports on their camera now. There's thousands of those available on YouTube, and that's great. But I want to not be the amateur guy with a phone or with a basic camera. I want to have a proper camera with a proper table, proper board size, with proper terrain, and fully painted, professional looking armies and all that jazz. That's the plan. That's what we're going to be doing. And that's what hopefully we will have in time, ready for May, sort of end of May, beginning of June. So I've said it now, I've committed, and the best thing is when I've committed to it, now means I have to do it because I've set myself a deadline, and that's just how my brain operates. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been a bit of an unusual episode, but almost a bit serious even. Talked about some very serious hobbying and studioing and YouTubing stuff. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave lots of comments down below. Let me know what you think about the transfers and the regiment number. And let me know what you're looking forward to with the YouTube studio. Give me some ideas. I mean, I kind of have my idea now, but I'm always looking for improvements. And if anyone could help me source some like big, full-size propaganda posters, that would be awesome. Or any artwork, that would be awesome. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.